There was some criticism about the 13-0 score line, and in particular, some Canadian broadcasters who were former players called it classless. What do you say to the critics about the score line and what they're saying about how the U.S. team celebrated?
I mean, I think it's disrespectful if we don't show up and give our best and play our game for 90 minutes. It's disrespectful to the Thai team, and I believe they wanted us to play them straight up. And for the celebrations, these are goals that we have dreamt of our entire life. I mean, I'm going to celebrate Mal Pugh's goal. I'm going to celebrate Sam Ewis and Roosevelt. This is their first World Cup, and I'm so proud of them. And so and I couldn't have dreamt of scoring 5 goals in a World Cup. So it's incredible for us all, and I'm happy just ignoring those comments.
Do you sometimes feel you're damned if you score, you're damned if you don't, though?
Well, I feel more than damned if we do or damned if we don't within this team. It's like what we say, what we don't say, what we stand for, what we don't stand for, what we do, what we don't do. So you can never have everyone love you. So that's how it is.
Okay, so let us clarify one more time. This had nothing to do with running up the score. We understand that goal differential, a huge thing at the World Cup. I think you even said, Kaylin, score as many goals as you want. That's perfectly fine. Also agree with Morgan there saying that we're going to celebrate first goals. Of course you are. That's completely understandable. You have worked your entire life for that goal. The problem we have is the sportsmanship when it comes to something like a 9-0 goal. And Megan Rapinoe, who came into that match, had scored 44 international goals. And you do pirouettes, and then you do the leg kicks at the bench. There was absolutely no place for that, and we stand by that.
Of course, and I think the comment about would you say this about a men's team? Yes, of course I would say this about a men's team.
Yes.
And if people remember back to Germany beating the Côte d'Ivoire in the 2015 World Cup, we commented on that as well because they were celebrating in an equally disgraceful way. It's just there's a way to win a game with humility and grace, and this wasn't it. And again, it wasn't the number of goals. There's a goal differential scenario, as Kate mentioned, that has to be taken into account. That wasn't it. It wasn't the people who scored their first goal in the World Cup. This is more about some of the veteran players and how they reacted to goals later in the game.
Yeah, I've gotten a wee bit of hate about this, but I stick by what I said. I mean, I have so much respect for the Americans. I've said it time and time again. I'm the first person to defend Americans when people are bad-mouthing. I mean, in Sydney Leroux, when she came into Canada and people were booing her, I was the first person to say, Sydney Leroux is a class act, both on and off the pitch. Same with Megan Rapinoe. She stands up for what's right. What I didn't agree with, and I said this in my pre-match with all of you guys, you need to score as many goals as you can in the World Cup. I wasn't taking anything away from them. I wouldn't take my foot off the gas pedal, but it was the way they went about it when it was 8, 9, 10-0, which I didn't agree with. Yes, celebrate Mallory Pugh scoring their goal with all their teammates, but it was just how they went about it. A few of the players just didn't sit well with me.
Yeah, it's same thing. I mean, the U.S. can score a ton of goals. They scored some great goals that game. I think it was the most goals in World Cup history, and for sure that's something the U.S. would drive for and be proud of. Any team would kill to have that. Yeah, it was just something about that feeling, like from 78 minutes onward, that it felt out of proportion to what was happening on the field. Like you love seeing Lindsey Horan's family celebrating in the stands.
That was awesome.
Goal. That stuff gives you the warm feeling, and then you just cringe a little with some of the later stuff that was going on, like cumulative with Jill on the bench and all those things. It didn't sit well. And it's true, too. I've been in situations where I've had teammates react maybe out of proportion to where the game was at or coaches, and it's just who they are. And at the same time, I felt embarrassed in those situations as well.
And to be quite honest, too, and we mentioned this before we went on air, you are still a member right now of the Canadian team. If your teammates did this, if we were sitting here and watching Canada and they celebrated this way, one of the veteran players who had scored World Cup goals in years past and just blowing a team out at this point, we would be saying the exact same thing. And you as a teammate would probably even say the exact same thing. This has nothing to do with anti-USA, pro-Canada.
Yeah, I mean, it totally depends on the situation, the fact they were playing Thailand, all these things. And I know on the Canadian team, we've had examples where we've played lesser teams and we've maybe had a goal target, so we might celebrate more as a team when we've hit that target, that sort of thing. But yeah, again, it just felt a little bit different than that one happened.
And you know what? Even on the positive side, too, one of the things you said, you defend Americans, and I completely agree with that, because immediately when Carly Lloyd, at the end of the game, she went right to the Thai goalie, said, great job, was just kind of consoling her at that point. I mean, there's a veteran leader right there that gets it, that understands that. So props to Carly Lloyd.
Yeah, and I touched on that off camera. I think Carly Lloyd, as much as she says in the media and she got kind of hammered for her comments, I completely agree with someone like her. She's not happy to be on the bench. I want someone like that on my team. And for her to go over straight to that goalkeeper, I'm not sure what the exchange of words was. For me, as a former player looking at someone like Carly Lloyd that I respected immensely when I played against her, both internationally and with club, I have so much respect for her.
And again, kind of that ruthlessness, like that ability to rack up the score and enjoy it. Maybe a little too much is what we're arguing here, but enjoy it is an attribute of the Americans. I think it's one of the reasons they've been so successful over the years. It's why they can win World Cups. It's something the Canadians have been trying to push in the last few years. And I mean, Megan Rapinoe's not going to care. We criticized her reaction. No. I mean, it's one of the reasons she's so great.